Grendon says no, we must bring people together. They must learn to interact. They must talk to each other. That in fact silence is to be abjured. The historical process is in fact completely turned on its head.
From the moment it opened in 1962, Her Majesty's Prison at Grendon Underwood in Buckinghamshire has been different, and so have its inmates.
If we had not abolished capital punishment, then 30 to 40% of them would be dead, and we wouldn't have to worry about it. And the majority of them are going to serve anything from 5 to 10 years inside, and that's 2 or 3 times the average for the rest of the prison system. They're murderers. They're multiple murderers. They're rapists. They're multiple serial rapists. They're child abusers. They're armed robbers, GBH. The whole list is there.
Inmates do not come to Grendon from the courts. Most come from other prisons, which they refer to as the system. And many come from the most secure prisons, or dispersals.
People are still quite shocked about what we do. And I think the fact that the jail has lots of sex offenders and people in with heinous crimes, the public are asking the question, what on earth are we doing treating them like human beings? But most of the guys here are in and out of jail. If we don't do something with them, they're back in, there's more victims created.
In Grendon, there's a new and for many of them unique form of punishment, and that is that they have to come to terms with what they've done to other people. If they want to stop doing it, then we will help them understand the whole dynamic of how they came to be that person that they now want to change, to leave behind.
There's another way in which Grendon inmates are untypical. They're all volunteers. They're allowed to come to Grendon on the condition that they will attend group therapy sessions throughout the time they spend here. In these sessions, every aspect of an inmate's life is open for discussion. His past, his behavior in prison, and the nature of the crime that brought him here.
To me, it was just a fucking burglary, but it got out of hand and it turned out it was a blinking armed robbery. I just knocked the door to check he wasn't in, but unfortunately he opened the door and grabbed me, so I knocked him to the ground and I jumped on him then. I put a shotgun in his mouth and told him I'd blow his fucking head off if he didn't give me his money.
As soon as he said that he was a Birmingham City supporter, I instantly hated this man. I loathed this man. I'm not listening now, all I'm thinking is, I fucking hate you, you bastard. I am gonna fucking hurt you.
So, there's times when you're actually going out and you're committing crimes when there's no need to go and do it because you've already got money in your pocket. And you're sitting there with £900 in your pocket.
I went straight in, and the woman cashier said hello and that, and I just said put the money in the bag. She just looked at me, and I see the manager in the back office, and he seemed to pick the phone up. So I shouted to him to put the phone down. And I just said, just get the drawer open.
That could be the first test.
We've had our arguments before, but nothing like this. And in a way there's a feeling of, I fucked up yet again. I've gone wrong yet again. Blaming myself again. And I just wanted it all to stop. There was a Jemmy hanging nearby. I just grabbed it and I ended up killing him.
For the purposes of this program, 7 inmates from Grendon's D Wing agreed to form a group and to be filmed while undergoing the therapeutic process.
I wasn't going to come on this group today. I was going to go to work and run away from it. I'm feeling fucking head up actually. Zio and I got a pro knock back yesterday. And fucking provost said I'm a very violent person. I'm an high risk to be let out of prison.
I think most of them struggle to get to each group. There isn't a queue at the door 5 minutes before with them wanting to get in. And the places we're asking them to revisit are often traumatic.
I didn't have to come in here. I could have run away from it, but at least I've come in here and sat with it. And you know, it just fucking hurts me to sit here, and the way I'm feeling at the moment, I am fucking pissed off. I am fed up, because I think that people's not helping me. People are just sitting back and thinking, fuck him, you know, leave him get on with it. And that's the way I'm feeling more.
When you first see it, then you might be forgiven to thinking, well, that's self-indulgent, and some of it is. But what you might be seeing is an early stage of a process which we know from research takes anything up to 18 to 24 months. And that process begins at a stage where the men will often see themselves as a victim, where they enjoy the attention that they're being given through the group, and it gives them a stage and a platform to talk about themselves.
I haven't run away from it. I didn't want to come on this group there, as I said. It's only for Mo and fucking George to come on this group and explain how I feel. And I'm sitting here doing it now. I don't have to fucking do that. I thought it was easy when I first came. I thought, this is a fucking doddle. I can have a couple of spliffs. I can fucking watch television all night, all day. But that's not Grendon. People realise when they come to Grendon, they're going to get some heavy shit. And people put it on you. Your own kind of people put it on you.
Well, listen, you knew for a fact that they wasn't going to paint a rosy picture. They've only got to look at your previous to know, well, this guy's fucked up time and time again. And we also said that there's a high possibility they're going to read your past record and they're going to say, sorry, we can't take a chance on this guy. He's had millions of chances before and he's pissed it up. He fucked it up. Now, you know that.
I know that, Gary, but what have I come here for then? So many times I've packed my bags. I wanted out. I was going to smash up and everything. But then I started to listen. I started to open my ears instead of closing them all the time. And that's the way I've lived all my life, is close my ears and have a drink. Forget the problems. Fuck the problems. I don't want to know. You know, I just wanted a drink and get in my head. And I thought that was the best thing for me. But now I know the best thing is for me to just sit down and answer for myself.
You're expecting these people up there in this office, all right, all fair due to you, and I feel the same about them. They sit in that office, they don't know what we do, they don't know what work we do while we're here, and how much we do change while we're here. But they're looking at it and they're going, well, hold on a minute, you know, for 17 years, and, oh, he's changed in 18 months. He's changed overnight.
It's a lot for people to swallow.
And it's difficult because they can see themselves as a victim of society, a victim of not having the same opportunities, a victim of a sentence which is unfair, etc., and then resenting being imprisoned for so many years.
And I think people are rejecting me now, not listening to me, what I'm trying to say, how I'm feeling inside, and that's making me angry.
What does it feel inside besides anger?
Left out. It feels like the people's not listening to me, Joe. I'm trying to explain how I feel and people's not listening. You know, it's just, I feel like I'm just locked in a room and I can't get out of it, and I'm banging the door and fucking people just don't want to listen, just walking past.
So you're saying you felt hurt?
Yeah, I felt hurt. I feel hurt. I feel hurt because I try to keep things calm. Because, like I said, when I was in dispersal, I smashed myself up and fucking everything I had, and just left sitting on the floor with naked, no clothes, nothing in my cell. Felt sorry for myself, and that's the way I was, Joe. You know, for 5 years in dispersal, I kept doing that, drinking and smashing myself up to get fucking people to notice me. People wouldn't notice me, Joe. You know, when I seen a man getting murdered in front of me, you know, sometimes I wish it was me, was in his position, because I'm fucking sick of it. I'm sick of the fucking pain.
I've watched you over the last 12 months or so. And I've watched you go from when you've had problems and you've blown it all out of proportion and you've wanted to throw the towel in and you've not been willing to talk about what feelings you've got going on for you. And over the last 12 months there's been a big improvement. And I've actually said this to you, and I'll keep saying it until the day that you release. You've made a massive amount of progress in the time that you've been here. And I'm truly sorry that they haven't give you your parole and they haven't said what a good job you've done in the time that you've been here. But I just hope that You can build from this. And I understand that you're upset and you're angry.
I've been asking for help, Gary.
I know you are, mate. I know you are.
It's not about giving people their lives back, because that sounds like you're taking the side of the offender. It's about obliging people to stop in their tracks, and when they trust you, hold up a mirror to their face and oblige them to see themselves as we see them and take responsibility for their acts, and then suggest to them other ways of behaving. If they then have to sit with a group of their peers until they understand as a group and accept that you have accepted, and then you have to move forward to doing something differently. You can't just say, that's done now, I have to behave in a different way. So that's another stage. And if you don't think that's punishment, if you don't think that would be extremely uncomfortable at best, then it's easy. But it isn't. I've seen it too often, hundreds of cases. Men crying uncontrollably. To know that it is a form of punishment, but it's cathartic.
There's sort of two ways into doing work with perpetrators. One is to remind them all the time of how bad it is, the things that they've done, which they've heard all their lives. And a lot of them will just close down to that. The other way in treating them in this more humane fashion is, if they can get in touch with their lives, their past, as victims as well, then it's only a short step to realise what they've done to other people. And that's a real connection with the victim.
You need to hear in their own words the sort of mindset that they hold before you can then enter into that mindset with them and begin to change it. And the change and the focus is away from them as a victim to see whether they can identify and empathize with other people as their victims.
You can imagine a shotgun shoved in your mouth, blindfolded, sat there, lonely. I don't think that man could ever rest again. That man suffered mental stress. You can imagine what he's gone through. If I had a gun shoved in my mouth, I don't know what it would do to me. It would tear me apart, you know. So I know now that I've got feelings and I do care. And I'd just like to say to this man that, you know, for once, please forgive me for what I done. You know, that's the way I feel.
Probably the worst crime possible is to kill someone. And I had to find out why or how I could have done such a thing. For a long time, you know, I ran away from the idea that it was me who actually killed her. You know, deep down, yeah, I knew I had done that. But actually admitting to yourself that you've taken someone's life is very, very difficult. It's, well, in a couple of months it'll be 11 years. I still get nightmares.
Penland Vawr Farm at Conwell Elfyd is a 45-acre small holding about 9 miles north of Carmarthen. The body of the owner, 42-year-old Ruby Babb, was found near the farmhouse. She moved in about 4 months ago from Norfolk. In court here in Carmarthen today, 28-year-old Roy Anthony Powell stood virtually silent during the 4.5-minute hearing. A frail-looking young man needing a shave and wearing a blue check shirt and a green sweater, Powell was accused of the unlawful killing of Ruby Babb at Penland Vawr yesterday. There was no application for bail, and Powell will appear here again before Carmarthen magistrates a week today.
Sometimes they're far more vivid than at other times. It's pictures of Ruby as I last saw him, or memories. of when I last saw her, how I left her. Flashes of actually going through the motions of killing her. Then it's the feelings that run with it that are the main things. Seeing myself actually go through it time and again. Knowing there's nothing I can do to alter what I've done. Because of what I've done, you know, I killed someone. That doesn't improve my self-esteem. That has sort of just driven home the point that other than me, what is there worth working for? What else is there? I've got such a low esteem of myself.
I can understand what you're saying about not knowing how to deal with people caring about you. It's that feeling of, am I really worth all of this? Am I worth these people bothering? And as you say, once you can accept, yes, okay, I am worth this, but then you've got the other problem of, as you say, how the hell do I deal with that? You know, how do I react to this? What emotions, what feelings should I be feeling for this?
Well, there's a prime example on our group the other day. Name things that, you know, are good about myself, and name things that are bad. I can name the things that are bad, no problems. But when it came to naming the things that were good, I got absolutely stuck. I couldn't name one. Yeah, they can. Every time I go over my crime with the group, more and more often, I can pick out where, oh, I should have done that then. I should have said this there. I should have done, I could have. It's all should haves and could haves. That is a problem that I still have. Showing things publicly, if you like. I've never cried on the group, but behind my own door, many times. Many times.
Which was a normal day. I went to my group. I had no intentions of using the group. And I sat in silence for about 15 minutes. And then I started to open up a little bit. And I just broke down in tears. It just all come out, and I couldn't stop. Once I'd started, I was bawling my eyes out. And once I'd started to talk about the raw feelings that was inside, it lasted for an hour and a half. And at the end of it, after I'd gone through it all, it's hard to explain the actual feeling that I had, but it's like somebody washed me down in water, and it just cleansed me all over. And that was the actual turning point for me. There's hardly ever money in the house for food and stuff like that. My mum and dad were constantly in the pub getting pissed. All of us suffered the occasional beating from my dad. There was a fair bit of violence over the years, but luckily my mum took most of it, you know. I felt helpless. I wasn't able to stop my dad from doing the things that he did to my mum. I can remember from an early age, from the age of about 13, physically wanting to hurt people, to say to them, or to let them feel the pain that I'd been feeling. A lot of my violence was focused on animals, because they was a soft target. Like I used to pick cats up, swing them round by the tails until the tails would come off. I used to whack them up against brick walls. I'd always burn spiders, you know, and it was things like that. I enjoyed breaking things and destroying things. It didn't necessarily have to be a cat or an animal or a spider. It could actually be an object.
We're dealing with a population that's been traumatised and is trapped in the past. and so they need some extra help to grow up and become adults. So although they look like adults, a lot of them are actually big hairy babies. If you look at their stories, they've become set in time and repeated over and over again. They need help to find other solutions.
I mean, because we ain't going to find people out there in our families who are going to be able to sit down, as we do, and talk about the issues that we talk about. Because that's hard for them to listen to. How do you sit down and say to your mother or someone, look, when I was in a Proof school, I was sexually abused daily. You know, how do you sit down and say to your mother, and because of that, I was made to become an abuser? How do you sit down and say that to a mother who's 50 odd years old and expect them to understand?
I was placed in care by my mum because she feared for my safety, and I was assessed and sent to Nazareth House to be protected from my father. Only to spend the next 4 years being abused by a member of staff sexually. Basically, the options were very limited. I accepted the sexual abuse because it was some form of attention, and at that time it felt, this person cares. This person really does care about me, and he's showing it, you know. So I put up with that. But then when I was asked to be put, or I was put in the position where I was being told, right, go on, you go to bed with this person. Well, no, I don't want to do that. And being told, well, you will do it. No, I won't. And then for the next 4 months, being gang raped by a member of staff and 5 other boys, senior boys, 16, 17-year-olds, continually, on almost a daily occurrence. After a while, emotionally, you just can't deal with that anymore. So you either become one, or you take what's being given. And unfortunately, I couldn't take what was being given for any longer. So I gave in, and I have to live with that shame.
When we look into their lives and look at some of the abuse that some of these guys have been subjected to, you know, repeatedly abused by families, by care, by social services, homes that they may have been into. If you were showing a program about childhood abuse, you know, the public are often wanting to take that child home, look after them. These are those children when they've grown up.
The only part I played, right, in becoming an abuser in my Proof school was the simple fact that I couldn't handle being gangbanged for any longer than 4 months. That was the only part I played in it. I did not have the emotional stability to be able to carry on dealing with that. So I took what was the easy option for me and joined the ranks of the abusers.
Listen to some of the stories and imagine the way into it, you know. Mo, as an 8-year-old, being gang raped in a children's home. You know, some idea of how that must have felt. That's the child that's gone on to physically abuse his own children. He was so anxious that he'd become a sexual abuser that actually physically abusing his children kept them away from him.
Yeah, I belted my kids around something terrible, and they did not deserve that. And yes, I am responsible for that to some degree, because if I'd have sat down and thought about it, I would have seen that these kids are no worse than any other children of their ages. But at that time, the only teachings I had on being a parent were from my father. My father taught me that the best way to make a child behave was to level the shit out of him. My kids have suffered for the way my father treated me. Now, is my stepson going to go on and treat his kids because of what I did to him?
I still get the impression that you can see your stepson as a victim, but you still don't see yourself as a victim. And like it's been said before, you know, is that some guy come and took your innocence away from you as a kid, and you starting the prime of your life, just starting to learn about life. And what a fucking lesson you had to learn. And so, even though it doesn't justify your actions later on in life, to me it's understandable why it is that you actually went down that road. Because the amount of pain and everything else that you must have been feeling, is it any wonder that you needed to deflect it or direct it at somebody, and the only people that you could direct it at was your stepsons? That doesn't mean to say that it's okay for what you did, because it isn't okay.
Unless we address what's happened to them, then it will continue. And they go from suffering pain and misery to inflicting pain and misery, and it's quite a natural progression. Yet we shift from wanting to help and offer support to wanting to lock people up and throw away the key. And I think it's a sad reflection. If the best we can do as a civilised society is to build places with big walls and hide people behind them.
But it's going to be hard, it's not going to be easy, and I've got to agree with her. I'm not going to turn around and say, yeah, I'm going to get to prison, I'm never coming back again. Because if I say that to you, then I'm fucking lying.
You're lying to yourself more than anything.
Exactly, of course. I've got to go out there and face reality.
When I get out, I ain't never coming back.
But you never know what's in the future. You don't know what's in the future.
I ain't coming back, that's it.
You're Mystic Meg then, you know.
Well, that's right, I'm Mystic Meg.
I don't think so.
I ain't coming back.
I think the only thing you can sit here and say at the moment is that you are going to do your utmost to ensure you don't come back.
Exactly.
You can't sit there, John, and make a statement like that.
No.
Yeah, I can.
You can't, because you're sitting there kidding yourself.
No,
because you can walk out there.
No, because every time that I've got out, I've gone, yeah, I'll go back. I can go back. And I'm saying, no, I ain't fucking coming back. Bollocks to it. This is it. End of. My first prison sentence, I remember walking into Bedford prison, and as I said, it was an old Victorian prison. I remember getting off the bus and going in there, and it was frightening. It was very frightening, and I remember crying my first couple of nights in there. I was in a cell on my own, and I remember actually crying, and I thought, this isn't for me, you know, never again, never again.
That's very easy to sit in here and say, if you're sitting out there with fuck all in the cupboard for your two kids to eat, you are going to go back out there.
Then I'll have
do
to
the
get on the
same
phone
thing
and I'll have to say to me, Mum, you'll have to send us a food parcel.
If she can.
Or I'll have to tell, sister, send me a food parcel. Where before I would go and say, right, I'll get the money, I'll put the stuff in the cupboard. No, it's not going to be. If I have to beg, then I'll fucking beg. I'll get on my hands and knees and I'll beg. And then being moved from that prison to another prison, to Stafford, and I think what made it worse for me, I was given an easy job, I was given a good job, a trusted job. I was outside the prison, working outside the prison. Little perks, extra perks, what other inmates wasn't getting, like association in the evenings, and then seeing all the wheeling and dealing and the ducking and diving, and I think, you know, it ain't too bad. It isn't too bad. I liked it in prison. Go out there and have a holiday, rob a few banks, come back and it's all, everything's here for me. I've got no worries. I've got nothing to worry about. Let them get on with their life out there. I'm okay in here. I'll go out now and again for a few weeks. Maybe we might last a year. You know, but this is what I was happy with. This is what I was content with. And they've come to it now. I ain't happy with this. I'm not content with this. I want to be with my children. I want to be with my family. And there's only one thing that will stop me from doing that, is me committing crime. And if I don't commit crime, I won't come back.
But you also need to understand why you committed crime in the first place.
Because I was greedy, because I wanted what I wanted. Not what anybody else wanted, what I wanted. It was me. Can't you understand? It was me. I was greedy. I wanted to spend money without earning it.
We've all wanted to do that, John.
I wanted to go out and drink without earning the money to go out and drink. I wanted to take drugs when I wanted to take drugs. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. This was my life, fuck everybody else. But it ain't fuck everybody else. I've got children,
I've got responsibilities. I now know I have responsibilities.
He'll carry inside him what he's learned, and that's the whole idea here, that you internalise the change. And he's not forgotten any of his destructive ways of behaving, but maybe he's leaving equipped with some other tools and some choices now to make in life.
Outside is completely different to in here. You're facing out there. Where I'm from in Merthyr Tydfil, there's pubs everywhere. You know, so it's going to be hard for me to walk past a pub with my mates sitting there drinking, and me being what I used to be, is to walk past that pub without getting the smell of alcohol. Because all my life, since I was 10 years of age, I've been drinking alcohol. Look at my kids. I got a daughter 26 years of fucking age. I've never seen her. And I've said before I'm going to stay out of prison, I'm never coming back to prison. Look at me today.
Well,
I'm serving a long fucking sentence.
And so am I.
You cannot say that and get rid of
Yeah, I can say it.
You can't.
I can say it because I can say it. I haven't got a drink problem like you.
You've got a drug fucking problem.
I haven't got a drug problem outside prison.
What was you doing in here then, John, fucking 12 months ago?
Because I only smoke in prison.
You still take fucking drugs.
In prison.
It's against the law. You're still breaking the fucking
I'm
law.
not going to smoke outside,
You're
Malcolm.
not going to do nothing outside, and you're going to go outside and be a fucking priest.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get a job. And I'm going to work.
And I'm going to get a fucking job.
Hold on. You just asked me what I'm going to do.
The best final tests of whether they're bullshitting us is whether the other inmates who have become the elders of the community buy it or not. And they can tell the people who are lying from the people who are genuine.
If he believes he can do that within himself, mate, I ain't going to try and say, you're talking out your arse, you're going to call back. He believes in himself.
I don't believe it, because I can walk out so we can knock me fucking out.
That's should, right? I believe I can. I don't have to go out there and rob a bank.
Well, what's
I don't have to go out there.
You're going to beat your fucking missus up, John. You're going to stand in your horse.
No, then I'll have to go to the police, won't I?
I'll go to the police. What the fucking police are going to do? They fucking go, like they always fucking do.
Malcolm, the point is, he believes that he can do it.
Yeah, I know what he believes. That's only what he believes. But it's not reality.
Everyone who goes to the place has volunteered to go there to change. So for me, that's a contract. They've signed up and they've given informed consent for us to help them change. And many of them are victims, but that doesn't excuse what they've done. And you have to make them give up that cluster of excuses. That's part of the process. You have to stop saying, I did it because. You have to begin saying, I did it. And then you have to end up by saying, I did it, and I know why I did it, and I'm not going to do it again because. And when they can say why they're not going to do it again, then your work's nearly done. But it's not quite done, because then you have to challenge that and question that and see how well they really are different and not just verbally different.
Yeah. What happens when your kids turn around and say, I need new shoes, Dad? Yeah, exactly. You turn around to your wife, I ain't got no money. You turn around to your mum, sorry, I can't help you. You turn around to your sister, sorry, I can't help you.
So I've got to say, well, I'll go out and rob because I can rob.
No, you don't have to.
And that's what I'm saying.
Right, but the temptation may be there.
I'm not going to let the temptation be there.
Right, so how are you going to deal with the temptation if it's there?
Because I've got two children sitting there that's going to say, listen, do you want to go back in there or do you want to be with them?
But you've had them there before.
I haven't. I've never had them there. My children were born while I was inside. I've never been outside with my children.
Oh, that's different.
I've never been out there. The only time I've been with my children was when I was on a home leave. That's the only time I've been with my children. So my son was born when I was inside. I'd been arrested and my son was born about four months after I'd been arrested. I got a home leave and she fell pregnant on the home leave. And now I have to watch my kids growing up in photographs and on a visit. And I now have my son wanting me home. I have my daughter wanting me home. And I want to be home with them. This isn't worth it. This is a fuck up.
I've made big mistake by believing that prison was my life. A very big mistake. And my mum, my dad, we talk now. On visits we talk. On family days we talk. And my mum said to me how much I've changed. My family say to me, you've changed. And I feel like saying, I haven't changed. This has always been me. It's just that it ain't never come out. I've never let it come out.
A certain someone expects you to act above and beyond the call of duty today, yet you are not prepared to play ball because you think they're being unreasonable.
Yeah.
What should you do? You're also feeling tired and in need of a good rest, so give yourself a break whenever you have the chance. That don't mean lamp in bed all day.
Mentioned earlier, Daniel Vettori hasn't scored many runs on this tour, but here with another extra clever drive off the back foot, well, it may be a little bit unorthodox, but the product at the end of the day is very effective.